because those guys have to realize, first of all, I think it is very close. And I'm in the front office. I have to make a decision. I think I'm going to take Jalen.
Me too.
I think I'm going to take Jalen. It's not because he won a championship or whatever. That's not like the deciding factor. It's just when I look at the two players, number one, I do think Jalen could put up the same scoring numbers in Orlando if you just swap the players. And I do. And yeah, maybe OKC can still win with Paolo. So that's not the point. But my point is, for the people who thinking it's such a lopsided thing, Jalen can score more if he had more shot attempts.
I've been very critical of Paolo's game. I think here's the thing that I'm looking at. I don't think you win a championship with Paolo as your number one. And so, to me, by default, he's a number two, which is exactly how Jalen Williams just won a title. And so, to me, they're ultimately playing the same role in their best possible situation.
Okay.
Now, if you flip-flopped it, Jalen's stats would go up, but team success would probably remain relatively flat. And if you put Paolo in OKC, his attempts would go down. His numbers would probably mirror Jalen's, and he would be the number two to Shea.
Jalen versus Paolo. And I'm in Orlando, so you get a lot of guys. And it was a major thing on Instagram. But a lot of guys was just like, "Oh, it's Paolo. What are you talking about? It's Paolo. It's Paolo. Just because one man won a championship, how can you even compare the two?" And then I'm looking, and they had the stats pulled up, and they're not like crazy different. I mean, because those guys have to realize, first of all, I think it is very close. And if I'm in a room and I'm in the front office, I have to make a decision. I think I'm going to take Jalen.
Me too.
I think I'm going to take Jalen. It's not because he won a championship or whatever. That's not like the deciding factor. It's just when I look at the two players, number one, I do think Jalen could put up the same scoring numbers in Orlando if you just swap the players. And I do. And yeah, maybe OKC can still win with Paolo. So that's not the point. But my point is, for the people who thinking it's such a lopsided thing, Jalen can score more if he had more shot attempts. I mean, Paolo is dominated him in shot attempts, and all of that. And Jalen is a better shooter. He's a more efficient scorer. He's a smoother scorer. He's a 3-level guy, and his defense is a lot better. Like Jalen is his defense is really fucking good. He's a really good perimeter defender. Paolo is not. Paolo is more. He can do better with his thing that he does well with defense is more post defense. I don't mean post. I just mean guys who can drive and he can hold up well. Not Giannis, but who can fucking guard Giannis? But any guy who can kind of go to the rim, Paolo can hold up on. But yeah.
Yeah, I've been very critical of Paolo's game. I think here's the thing that I'm looking at. I don't think you win a championship with Paolo as your number one. And so, to me, by default, he's a number two, which is exactly how Jalen Williams just won a title. And so, to me, they're ultimately playing the same role in their best possible situation.
Okay.
Now, if you flip-flopped it, Jalen's stats would go up, but team success would probably remain relatively flat. And if you put Paolo in OKC, his attempts would go down. His numbers would probably mirror Jalen's, and he would be the number two to Shea. So I think as the number one, neither one is the guy to carry, and they're both probably better suited at number two. So that should put them in the same relative tier.
They're in the same tier.
And so why should the compensation be that different? Why should there not be a relatively balanced preference between the two guys as to who you think you're better off with?
But and my point to bring Jalen up is, I think a bad team or something is going to they're going to throw the house at him. And it may be deserving so at that time, depending on what kind of year he has coming up here, but we'll see.
And he'd be a fool to go.
Yeah. It depends.
Doesn't depend much. No, you're in a great organization playing with people that are really good. And again, when I say great organization, this is an organization that kind of turns over every stone to try and build a team.
Yeah.
They're not gonna stop doing that. And for you to just, hey, I'm gonna go to Atlanta, or I'm gonna go to Washington or one of these other teams that just can't get out of their own way, what is the point of that? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And you're I mean, like, again, like the whole, get the bag thing, but it's like, what is the difference in the bag? And what opportunities do you have after your career if you're on, if you're the 17-year guy, most of your career with the, OKC, who maybe won 3 titles during your career, maybe not back to back or anything, versus a guy that won 1 title early in his career and bounced around as a miscast number 1 on a bunch of teams that couldn't win shit. Like, what is your post career out of that?
Yeah.
I mean, winners matter. Winners have opportunities in front of them. People are, they're going to want, what was it like being a part of that? Does anybody care what it was like to be a part of the, 2017 Brooklyn Nets? No, they don't give a shit.
I had to look it up just to make sure. So he's 24 and he's going to have the opportunity after next year to re-up. Jalen Williams I'm talking about, but also like ego can get in the way because like just his matter of luck, these other 2 guys were eligible and up before him. So like you may get to a point where they maxed these 2 guys out. It was time. It was whatever, and then he's just the last guy on the bus. And it's like, well, hey, we extended these guys. We gave these guys max contracts. Technically, we can't give this to you. We can offer you this. And then another team comes with a max offer. And I understand what you're saying. What is the difference in that bag? Right. And maybe OKC offers him the max, and then they just send it around at 3. I don't know.
But if you make decisions based on your ego, is that ever a good thing?
No, it's not. But but at that time,
you're kind of acknowledging an error.
No. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm staying in OKC as well. Yeah. But I'm just saying, at that point, he'll be 25 years old, possibly another extended playoff run. We'll just say that. Yeah. And he takes another step, and it's like, okay, well, damn, I'm here. I understand you can only offer me this, but shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, at 25, 1-time, potentially 2-time NBA champion.
And what if he plays better than Chet? What if Chet doesn't grow or take another step next year?
I think he played better than Chet this year. I think he'll play better than Chet next year. I have no worries about him playing better than Chet.
So what if he looks at that and say, "Damn, you paid this guy this"?
Yeah, that's where the ego goes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And that's why it's not always a good decision maker. But at 25, 1 maybe 2 titles, you were at the absolute height of your marketability.
100%.
As a player, what do you do with that? That's the thing.
Yeah.
I would lean towards staying if they've got the infrastructure to continue. But if you're not going to do that, you got to leverage yourself to a place that matters and not just take, the biggest bag and go to Timbuktu with it.
Yeah.
It's got to make sense.
It's got to make sense. The other comparison really quick here, I wanted to talk about Jordan McCray. Shout out to Jordan here. He put out this post, who's better at that peak, CP3 or Kyle Lowry. Now, of course, this is a setup, right? So you got a lot of guys, again, coming on the post that says, CP3, what are you talking about? Why is this even a debate? Chris Paul. Now, apparently, I guess he had a conversation with one of his friends, and I guess one of his friends said Kyle. And he just wanted to, make a mockery of him. Which I don't mind at all. But my comment on there, I said CP3 is the better player, and of course he is. Chris Paul is a better basketball player than Kyle Lowry, but Kyle Lowry is a better fit on any team that is trying to win. And also, Kyle has never been a locker room problem. Matter of fact, any team he's been on, they'll tell you he's been a leader in that locker room and someone that they depend on. And there are many NBA stars and role players who hate playing with CP3, who CP3 has gotten into fights with, coaches who despise CP3, referees who they petition to not even referee Chris Paul games. Like that matters. Yes, Chris Paul is a better individual player than Kyle Lowry, but if I need a point guard and I have a championship contending team, and I need to pick one and they're both there in their primes, and like I said again, there's a championship contending team that just needs a point guard. I'm going Kyle, man.
Are you?
Because I can't take that big of a chance to fuck up my locker room. I think that CP3 his struggles to relate or whatever that missing link is to like or be liked by teammates. I think that's a big piece of why he's never won anything. And you look at all these older guys that podcast and whatever it is, the Gills Arena, the Jeff Teagues and all that. When they talk about Chris Paul, just listen to him when they talk about him. Oh yeah, his skill is crazy and he can do this and that. But he's a fucking asshole. Like that's tough to play with every day, man. That's tough. Him and fucking Blake Griffin don't even talk anymore. That was a dynamic duo, or I guess trio with Jordan. Like that, I don't know. I think that stuff matters a lot.
I generally think it does, but I think the margin between Chris and Kyle is enough that I would make that work for me.
And I'm not mad at that. But I don't know. I think, Kyle is a hell of a player, man.
He is, but to me, Chris Paul's.
And then I also got to take into account Chris Paul is a universe. That's another thing. Like even outside of behavior issues, he's a universe. It has to.
Like he's a misbehaving guy in kindergarten.
He is. I mean, that's literally how he behaves. That's how he carries himself. But like, he's a universe upon himself. He's a LeBron. He's a Luka. He's a the ball has to be in his. I'm talking about CP3 in his prime. Yeah. It's not. I think whatever, but James Harden, but he's not those guys.
I remember his college coach had the great comment. He's like, they're asking, what are you gonna do with your offense with Chris Paul? He's like, I give Chris the ball at the beginning of the game, and he gives it back to me at the end. That's the offense. I mean, I don't know. Chris Paul, over time, I've kind of been a bit of a convert. I always hated him and always thought he was an asshole, and he probably is an asshole, but it's...
you can take the probably out.
When I look at the long-term picture of it, I mean, I think I would take him over Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, and that's fine. Kyle is it's an odd like person to pick because CP3 is a Hall of Famer. He's a fucking one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game. So it's a setup from the beginning.
Kyle Lowry's but he's an interesting career.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those guys. I remember when he got to Villanova, they were kind of they weren't 100% on him when they got him, and they're doing off-season runs and stuff, and they're just his team always fucking won. He looked a little fat, even when he was in college, and it's just every time there was a scrimmage or live action, his team ended up winning.
I think it matters, man.
And then he kind of got going in the pros and was just this feisty guy, and kind of found his prime in Toronto, got the title, and then he's kind of hung on a pretty long time and accepted the diminished role. So there's going to be a lot of younger people right now who kind of only remember him as the whatever, the veteran on the Heat squad or the veteran on the Sixers squad, and don't really have an appreciation for what he looked like when he was in the prime of his career.
And he was good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The Toronto teams with him and DeRozan. I mean, they were really fucking good, and he was a really good player.
He started in Houston, right? He was a part of that organization?
Maybe, possibly. I just remember the Toronto days.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely his prime and peak years. But yeah, it's again, hell of a career for him.
All right.